Welcome to another one over here, Game Chopping TV. Tap in, like, comment, and subscribe because we chopping this game over here, man. Man, had to tap into this one, man. So got quite a few things going on, man. Shoot, one of the main things though that I'm speaking on is so that situation in with the Ukraine refugee out there in North Carolina on that train. That's been a real big topic, man. You know, in the videos out there, you could go see the video and everything. It's crazy work, man. Crazy work. You know, definitely don't agree with what that man did. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, there's record of him having like mental illness. I heard like schizophrenia, things like that. Um, in situations like that, it's not really much. It's always been a thing that people talked about is when it comes to like mental health, there's not enough, resources, I guess, dedicated to that. Because a lot of times, these people get admitted to hospitals, different things, and they release them the next day. They let them stay in there overnight, stuff like that, maybe a few days, whatever, and end up releasing them. And they're not, so they're released out into the public with this, whatever, with that mental health issue, basically. Um, and so, if y'all aware, she, from the video, it shows that the Ukrainian refugee was sitting in, she walked in on the train. He was sitting down. It was this empty seat in front of him. She sat down right in front of him, and then he slowly flipped his blade or whatever, and then started. We didn't actually see how and how he cut her and all that, but that's what happened and unalived her. Um, and so, like I say, the mental health issues, right? But of course, you do have those people, since a white Ukrainian refugee, you got a lot of white people so far that's been making it about race. And then I guess after he did what he did, I guess they were saying that he was saying like, got that white B, different things like that. Um, well, so in that case, people are, but the thing about that is, it's not like these other cases where, like, when that Buffalo shooter, he went in there with racial words written on the gun and already, knew who and what he was targeting, and he didn't stop with just one. Had the firepower and took as many people as he wanted to out. And he intentionally, and he said it. Hey, this is why I did it. Like Dylan Roof, he said, "This is why I did it." This guy right here, so he did speak out. And so what's going on here is that his sister basically has spoke to him. His name is DeCarlos Brown Jr. Um, I'm not sure if he's FBA or not, you know what I'm saying? Cause, but that's it's crazy work. So I'm not sure, but what he, basically he spoke to his sister, and what he was basically saying is that he feels like someone put a machine in his brain type stuff. um Let me see his exact words. Basically, no, he says he believed man-made material had been placed in his head. um because what he did, like before this, he had made a false call to 911, and I guess that's what he told him, some off stuff like that, you know and I guess, like I say, when it's mental health, I guess if the way they look at it is, hey, as long as they're not a threat to anyone or they're not harming anyone at the moment, then they won't really mess with you when become a threat. But then, thing is, when it's too late, well, if you're black, of course, you know, all the mental health thing goes out the window, especially if the person you attacked was white. You know, it seems that way. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's what's kind of going on here. You know what I'm saying? Because, like I say, the thing is, it's not like it wasn't a record. Now, I could see if there wasn't a record of this dude having mental health issues documented. That's the thing about this stuff, it's already documented. So it's not like there's not evidence of that. I could see it was just nobody with no records, no nothing, and then boom, he do it. Well, then, even that doesn't mean that he didn't go crazy or, didn't go have some kind of mental issue, but it's nothing else. His is documented. I'll say that much. I'm not excusing it or anything like that, but I mean, I think we all know when you're dealing with people like that with mental health issues that almost all bets are off, right? And so he, yeah, so basically what he said, he told the police that when he made a false 911 call, I guess they didn't arrest him or anything then, or, I guess he got in a little bit of trouble just for the fake 911, for the, wasting their time or something like that. You know what I'm saying? But, let me see. So basically, let me see. So what his exact words is, let me see. Connections. So he says that it'll stab. Let me see. Hold on, let me get to that. All right. So he told his sister, he says, like, hey, I didn't know her. Things like that. But let me see. I'm trying to get to. Both folded a knife. Let me see. All right. So what he says. So what he said basically, he says, I hurt my hand stabbing her. He told his sister. He says he don't even know the lady. He says he never, wait, hold on, let me see. He said, I never said a word to the lady at all. That's scary, ain't it? He says, why would someone stab somebody for no reason? Okay. He further told his sister that materials in his brain needed to be investigated and that the government had planted materials, according to the report. So then his sister asked her brother, why he stabbed the lady, basically. He says that they lashed out on her. And what he's saying is the materials, because he had already told the police something about that. He thinks someone put man-made materials in his head. So he's saying that the materials that he thinks was planted in his head lashed out at her, referring to the materials and stuff. Whoever was working the materials, they lashed out on her. He continued. That's all there is to it. So basically, the man wasn't in his right mind, in my opinion. People keep trying to turn it into a race thing and like a hate crime type of thing. And whatever, hey. But I think, and this is my opinion too on that, I think he would have stabbed whoever sat in front of him. I think whoever sat in front of him in that moment, I think whoever sat in front of him in that seat in that moment, you know what I'm saying, he was going to attack. That's what I think. I mean, I don't think, it was just, just her. I think, like I say, well, the seat was empty. The seat was empty before she sat in it. Now, like I say, that's my opinion on that one right there. I think whoever would have sat in that seat would have, he would have attacked him. If he has things going like that in his head like that, yeah. I think he would have attacked anyone, no matter the color or anything, right? But now, That's my take on it, man. Um, the race thing, I don't fit. It's not like, and people kind of keep trying to turn it into like it's somebody who just was in a right mind. And the difference with the white people when they do it is when they say, when they see what happens is the white people try to give them an excuse and say, oh, they were something about mental health. The white people literally legit say, nah, no, I knew exactly what I was doing. I knew exactly who I was targeting. That's how white people move with it. You can't, it's undeniable then. This dude right here is talking out of space, basically. And people, they're using that to just say, oh yeah, this was race related. You know what I'm saying? A guy like that in his mental shape, mental health shape, did to say that, oh, that was a race, unaliving. It has something to do with race. No, no, I don't believe it. I don't believe it at all. You know, I think anyone who sat in that seat, he would have attacked. You know what I'm saying? But I don't think a lot of people might not agree with that, but it makes sense. If he was in that kind of mental state, it makes sense. You know, but then other than that, it's kind of going down today. You know, uh, what's the name? The dude, Charlie Kirk, who, you know, close friend of Trump. Close ties to Trump. You know what I'm saying? He got unalived today. He got unalived today at a college event in Utah. I saw something about that earlier, you know, and I was thinking it was the situation on the day. I get a lot of people confused, but I thought they were talking about that situation. I guess that happened in Minnesota, where the dude. It was on the same day, I think, that Trump was going to get inaugurated or something like that, and then some politician in Minnesota or something got unalive. I don't know. I just kind of got them crossed up. I'm like, because I'm thinking to myself, I know this isn't something that just happened today. You know what I'm saying? Charlie Kirk, and then boom, yeah, it is. You know what I'm saying? It is. I get home, because the first thing I just saw that he got shot. Get to the crib, boom, he's unalived. Crazy work right there, man. Crazy work. And you could go see the video of that too. He's under a little tent thing. He's speaking, and he says something about some gang something, and then boom, you hear a shot. And of course they cover up his face, so you can't just. But you can, you can see him get hit, but they blur out enough, so. And, people, basically started scattering, ducking and scattering. Things like that, man. And I think, well, they do have the suspect, the person of interest in custody who has something to do with that. Crazy work, man. Crazy work. And one thing I'll say, with Trump in office, this is like, it's been funky. You know what I'm saying? I guess I hadn't necessarily been alive. Well, this is the most, gunfire I've seen, thrown at, president, a president, the president and the people around him. You know what I'm saying? Since Kennedy and them, since Kennedy, like the politicians right now, fool. The one, hell, even Trump's, caught one. Well, he didn't catch it, but it scathed him. You know what I'm saying? This is the most gunfire I've seen with dealing with politicians since the Kennedy thing. And I wasn't even born when that happened with Kennedy. But But that's what I'm saying. I mean, in my lifetime, I heard about that. We all saw how it happened with Kennedy then, but this is the most I've seen in real time. The president almost, he got scathed by a bullet. Um, the day he was getting inaugurated, there was a politician, two politicians or something that got shot, and I believe unalived. And now today, somebody they showed the person. There's a video of the person on the roof too. You can see him on the roof at a distance. They say he hit him from like 200 feet, I think, 200 yards or something like that. Yeah, and it's a clear image of a person on the roof. That was a bad person, man, to, be where he was at and hit his target like that, man. Straight bullseye. Straight bullseye, fool. You know what I'm saying? Um, yeah. Yeah, man, straight bullseye, though. Um, now, like I say, when I first saw it, it was just report that the man, got shot. And come home a few hours later, I guess it was a fatal hit. A fatal hit, man. Crazy work, Trump camp, boy. It's boy. Like I say, I haven't seen this much gunfire since the Kennedy situation, man. JFK. You know what I'm saying? Hey, man. Motherfuckers is on that Trump camp, fool. They own that Trump camp, man. I ain't gonna lie, and I thought still, I felt like Trump was the better candidate over Kamala, but shoot, boy, bullets are flying this time that Trump is in, fool. Bullets are flying this time, man. They are flying. He already, had to dodge a bullet. Well, got scathed, like I said, to be president. You know what I'm saying? They clapping at them boys, man. They sniping these cats, fool. It's dangerous to, they making it, it's kind of, hell it is. It's dangerous being involved with the Trump camp right now, almost. Especially if you get some kind of speaker. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you're some kind of speaker, fool. You go up there on stage thinking you talking about what you talk about and talking about, and you know what I'm saying? Like, boy. The thing is, there's white people doing it. That camp has pissed off some white people too. And they know they're like, well, a lot of people are good with sniping, but the ones that are doing it, they not playing. They getting up there sniping, boy. And they hitting the targets. You know what I'm saying? Even with Trump, when they shot at Trump, God was with him. God was with him because that thing, it scathed his head. Huh? It scathed his head, fool. That was a dome shot. They said today it was a neck shot for Charlie Kirk. There wasn't no scaving there, buddy. Crazy, fool. And he was under a tent. I guess maybe they thought that would, I guess they probably wasn't expecting nobody be tripping, hit Kirk like that. But, under a tent, you would think that would kind of, hide him a little bit, maybe. But no way, buddy. No. Like I say, with Trump, that was a headshot. It just, just scathed him, though. You know what I'm saying? But, oh yeah, it's rugged and raw. It's rugged and raw. This time around, fool, with this situation that's going on, man, with Trump in the building, yeah, man. I wonder how can they? Because this. He got unalived here. You know what I'm saying? We can't make it like, at least like with Trump's situation, which that was crazy too. But at least in his situation, he let you know he was okay while walking away. This time, you know, it's blood. Somebody accomplished their mission. You know what I'm saying? Somebody accomplished their mission this time. You know, and Trump camp gonna have to, take their safety more serious, fool. Cause it's real. It's real. When you least expect it, man, it's real for them right now, man. It is real. Um, but I mean, yeah, I don't, they got the person in custody, and so I'm pretty sure they're gonna, there's gonna be maybe hopefully an answer to why. Because a lot of times when people do that stuff, they end up unaliving themselves, blah, 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 this, that. But, I think the dude, actually, I see that, like the one who he didn't even, who just gave Trump, he unalived himself afterwards. Or something like that. Yeah, he's not here to say why he did it. Only thing that was left is just people who went to school with him and say, "Oh yeah, he was a weird person," and all that kind of stuff. But no, um, but this guy here, maybe they could get some real info out of him. Like, was this a solo mission for you, or are you part of some other? What's going on here? Y'all sure? What's your background? You're a damn good sniper. You know what I'm saying? You know, but yeah, man. That's crazy, man. These people have their reasons, their agendas for it too. We just don't know what it is yet. You know, um, I don't know. Would you say that Trump is pissing a lot of people off right now? Um, you know, certain things I agree with that Trump is doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, for example, with the ICE stuff. Yeah, I think that's now that makes sense right there. Um, some of the other stuff doesn't necessarily make sense. Like for example, well, it's like now for some reason when there's a crime or something like that, it seems like if it's a white person that's the victim of the crime, Trump gets involved and acts like wants to just, oh, we gotta make an example and we gotta do and, like for example this case here, like he's acting like, oh, he's gonna foresee it out and like this is something he holds dear. It's some things it makes me wonder where Trump is going with everything, with certain things anyway. But hey, this was wrong. Yeah, it was wrong, but well, yeah, but yeah, he has this dude literally legit has a record of being mentally ill. You're not talking about someone who wasn't already diagnosed with the mental illness. So yes, I could kind of understand the point of holding certain people accountable who were like who could have put him in where he could have been. I guess a lot of people want him to be locked up, or something. I think maybe in a mental hospital. You know, you can be locked up in mental hospitals, you know. Um, Let me see. Sorry to sound, the US is such a effed place. I'm glad I'm European. I mean, well, the world is a screwed up place. I mean, there's one thing I can't say, that there's reasons for everything. You know, that's one thing I can't say. So it's not like we're just now. There's like they say, even if people just randomly do stuff, there's a reason, and whether their reason is good or bad, it's a reason. So I say it's the world. The U.S. right now. Yes, a lot going on politically in the U.S. that is causing violence to happen too. You know, but see, it just seems like so much fucked up shit is happening over there. Yeah, I guess so. I guess you could say that, yeah. But it's been happening. JFK, he was the president. He got, taken out, and that was back, what, in the 60s or something, 70s, back some years ago. This has always been like this, and with the type of president we have in right now that's pretty unapologetic about things, you know, someone who's not soft shoeing things, yeah, you're going to get these kind of reactions from people. Like I say, I agree with certain things he's done, or that he's doing. Man, if you want to be honest, see, dude, it really goes. This is the way it goes. Pretty much after slavery, white people didn't want, they for some reason still had a problem with black Americans. They had a problem with black Americans being able to thrive, being able to be successful, and just of the possibility of maybe surpassing them, or if not surpassing them, just as well in their own areas. So what America did was started bringing a whole bunch of immigrants over here. But the white people basically just started bringing a whole bunch of immigrants over here. And from there, it just, that's it. But the purpose of that was to, I could put them in position. White America has no problem with anyone succeeding except black Americans. You know what I'm saying? And so it's just so that's where a lot starts from, to more karma that's just happening. And then you ask a white person over here about reparations for the black Americans. What do they say? Oh no, you get no reparations, no reparations. They give the Native Americans, Indians, whoever you want to call them, reparations, casinos, all kind of stuff for nothing. Because they did, basically, because they didn't have nothing to do with the building of the thriving United States that exists today. And so this is this is where things are, kind of, so you have a whole bunch of just people from everywhere that's over here now. The thing is, everyone isn't loyal to America. The only people, the only race of people, the only people, the only people who are loyal to America are black Americans. Because this is it for us. This is it. This is where we started at. And we have nowhere else to turn. You see what I'm saying? Everywhere, but every other group here that's here have an allegiance. Oh yeah, they gave their oath, to get over here to America and all that kind of stuff. But they're illegal. As you see, a lot of these other people still fly their foreign flags. You know what I'm saying? And so they have low key. They still have an allegiance to their foreign country. You know what I'm saying? So anytime somebody comes over here and gets anything, is something that most likely that we fought for to even exist. Black Americans. You know, and like I say, a lot of these people have no allegiance. So random things will happen over here, and like the person who did this, yeah, the person that did this, I guarantee he's like his background is probably Italian, Poland, Germany, Irish, something else. He may be a white person, a white skinned person, but I guarantee he has his background is something else. And the let me see, and let me see, Charlie Kirk. I'm pretty sure he has some kind of immigrant background too. You know what I'm saying? Like I say, Black Americans are the only ones who are loyal to America. And so this is why random things are happening, because it's just things are out of control. That's why I agree with ICE. Clear some of this water here, man. And with that comes a lot of anger for people who want to continue to use America. You know what I'm saying? Because you see the shirt right here. You know, this is what time it is, basically. This is what time it is. You know. And so it's just things just going on back and forth right now. But not even that. I'm not sure if y'all heard about what's going on or what just happened out there in Colorado with the school shooter. A school shoot. It was a school shooting. And supposedly, it's crazy, but so there's 3 kids who got sent to the hospital in critical condition, including the shooter. And so now people are wondering, like, how in the heck the shooter, why is he being transported in critical condition? But what they say from the reports that the police didn't fire any shots out there. But yeah, he's one of the people being taken in to the hospital in critical condition. And they say that allegedly, so 4 people got taken to the hospital in critical condition, but it's not necessarily confirmed that the 4th person was a shooting victim. So basically, it sounds like confirmed that 2 were taken to the hospital in critical condition. You know what I'm saying? From that shooting. And so basically 2 things in one day like that. Well, I mean, who had what planned? I mean, it sounded like to me 2 different people in 2 different states had plans to do this, or something. Or is it when the Charlie Kirk dude gets, shot and unalived, somebody who's a firm, strong, follower or something just decided to, oh, the heck with it, did what he did. The person did what they did because, yeah, hey, maybe it's a coincidence that, maybe that a few hours, some hours after Charlie Kirk's shooting and unaliving, that a student at a school in Colorado decides to shoot random people or something like that, you know? Or was this just something, like I say, it was already planned anyway? Or did this have anything? Because a lot of these, a lot of the strong Trump followers and stuff, feel a certain way about this Charlie Kirk person being unalived like that. So some people probably, ready to crash out. Let's be honest here. Some of these people probably, these hardcore Trump supporters, they probably ready to crash out. And I'd have a hard time believing that this person who's responsible for the Colorado shooting, how can I put it? I'd be very surprised if the person who has something to do with that Colorado shooting is not a Trump supporter. And like I say, I felt like Trump was the better president over Kamala. So no, but what I'm trying to say is, I think after this Charlie Kirk shooting, it makes, the strong supporters want to crash out or something. And it just makes me wonder, was this one of those crash out cases? But then it was in two different states. We don't know what the heck the person who did the shooting, and, with the point, well, why'd he do it? You know what I'm saying? We don't know that yet. But it makes me wonder, since, it's on the same day, just a couple of hours later, was it one of those moments where he just like, man, screw this, and when did what he did? But yeah, it's a lot going on, man. It's definitely a lot going on. But when we go back, to do a quick recap, the person that the Carlos guy in that North Carolina train stabbing thing, I honestly feel like no matter who would have sat in that seat in front of him, in that moment right there, he was gonna attack him. That's what I do think. I feel like whoever sat in front of him in that moment was gonna get attacked. Me myself, it's was so cold here. What is so cold here, though, is that he was diagnosed with a mental health issue. That's the cold thing about it. Just, like I say, it would be different if this somebody who didn't have all that already on him. Proof of mental health issues that's always swept under the rug. Like I say, when you go to these facilities, they'll just hold you for a few days and release you back and tell you to, prescribe you some meds, which what I've come to see, a lot of people, who have the mental health issues, in some cases, don't want to take their medicine, and then they'll act like they're fine, they'll say they're fine and all this and that, and they won't take it, and they'll refuse to take it. And some of them will even try their hardest to be as normal as ever around you, without the medicine. But in this situation here, man, But even his sister, what's the cold thing too? Even his sister said, I don't think he should have been out in public. I don't think he should, he shouldn't have been out and about in, public and around people in society. She doesn't think he was fit mentally to be out around amongst others in society. And, you know, crazy work, man. Crazy work. You know. Now I could see if this is somebody who's, like, yeah, I did it, yeah, like those Buffalo shooters and the Dylan Roofs, yeah, I did it, and this is why I did it, and I meant to do it, and ain't nothing wrong with me. Okay, well, that was a hate crime. That was, just undeniable. But he got his situation is documented. His mental health issues are documented. You can't shoo away from that. If any of those same people who, like the guy, the people who's done these massacres, like the Dylan Roofs and all, actually had documented mental health issues like that, and run-ins and all this stuff, and they were set loose, set loose, set loose, then yeah, that's the problem with the people setting him loose. Because if it's if people have mental health issues and it's documented, well then that's all the proof you need for them to, they shouldn't be out and about roaming, you know. But he's in a situation now where um, he's got some consequences to face. So, hell, what are you gonna do? Put him in a prison around people who's not? Well, that's not who mind ain't spaced out. I mean, shoot, or whatever, that don't have mental health issues. I mean, I think he needs to be in a place where, you know, they house people who have mental health issues when they do crime or something. That's my take on that. You know. But yeah, man, all this going on, I didn't want to just drop. I couldn't drop one video. I could have, but I said, you know what? I might as well go live real quick. You know what I'm saying? And just bust all three situations down, man. Because yeah, it's gonna be Trump focused on a lot of some of this other stuff. Well, not some of this other stuff, but trying to you know, be harsh on people who got mental health issues. Hell, they need to be worried about the person who just did what they did to his partner. And need to take care of that, shoot, because he got some real things going on. All that Chicago stuff, and all that DC stuff that didn't do nothing because ain't black people ain't doing no organized crime like that. So they just it wasn't nothing to do. But it looks like to me he got some stuff he needs to be taken care of with white people on the other hand, because they ain't playing right now. I dog it. The dude who shot Charlie Kirk, he was a white person. The person who just did this Colorado shooting, white person. I mean, shoot, it's going down. Yeah, and I don't think it's about to stop. So I think he need to straighten out America and not just be, you know, making up crime and act like black people just the ones doing everything. Shoot, boy, his whole clique is being targeted right now. Him and his whole clique is being targeted right now. And it ain't about no black Americans. You know what I'm saying? Come on now. Shoot, but it is going down. You know, like I saying, I don't see it stopping. I don't see it stopping. Well, but yeah. Um, like I say, we'll see how things go in the next few days. I think it's gonna be funky. I think the next few days gonna be funky. Cause this time somebody in Trump's camp actually got unalived, fool. Actually got unalived, fool. So, yeah, that's a different story. Um, but yeah, man, that's what's going down, though, man. Y'all let me know what y'all think about all this in the comments, though, man. Another one over here, Game Shopping TV, man. Tap in, like, comment, and subscribe, because we are chopping this game over here, man.